Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin has just officially confirmed the breakout from this massive bullish price pattern, as we now have more liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin in the short term, which is revealing Bitcoin's very next move. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside the fact that we now have an official altcoin season signal, which I'll also talk about in just a moment, alongside the fact that Ethereum is possibly flashing a warning signal, while the price of Chainlink is running into critical resistance, still struggling around this area. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a look at the Bitcoin news today, because over the last one day, we saw a massive net inflow into the spot Bitcoin ETFs again. We actually saw over $1 billion flow into the spot Bitcoin ETFs just on Friday. So 2 days in a row now, Thursday and Friday, where we saw over $1 billion of net inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. So of course, this is going to cause massive buying pressure, pushing the price higher in the short term. And the largest buyer out of all of the ETF providers on Friday was BlackRock, with the largest inflow into the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF that we've seen in a long time. Almost $1 billion just into the BlackRock ETF alone on Friday. And so once again, fundamentally speaking, this is pushing the price higher, adding buying pressure, adding demand for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. So of course, on the larger timeframes, we're still looking bullish. And if we're taking a look at this weekly time frame, we're still possibly forming a new bearish divergence, which is not currently confirmed. So it's something to pay attention to, but once again, not in play, not confirmed, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, just over the last one day, we've now officially confirmed a new bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD for the first time since around mid-April. And the time before that was around mid-September 2024. And we could see both of these previous examples here. We saw a lot more bullish price action to come after the bullish crossover actually confirmed over the next few weeks, if not months. And so once again, we've just now confirmed a bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, pointing towards more bullish momentum to come in potentially the next few weeks or months. And so obviously we can see a little short-term pullbacks and things like that on smaller time frames, but if we're zooming out, we're looking very bullish right now, gathering more bullish momentum. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, because once again, over the last one day, we've just now confirmed a 3-day candle close, which means we've officially now confirmed the breakout for this massive bullish price pattern, a cup and handle pattern, setting up a massive technical price target towards the upside, which is sitting at around $153,000 per Bitcoin. So from where we are right now, as of recording this video, to that price target, that's still roughly a 30% move towards the upside with no leverage, or for example, a 10x leverage long position, that would be a 300% profit in that example. But as always, not financial advice. I'm just pointing out a bullish price pattern, which is now technically active, setting up that bullish price target, which is now in play. And so once again, as I explained in my last video just yesterday, I'm currently in a Bitcoin long position, trading this massive bullish move towards the upside. And I do plan to ideally long this entire move towards the price target, but we'll likely run into resistance along the way at certain points, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And then around those points of resistance, I may look to take some profits off the table, just slightly reducing the size of the trade at each of those key points of resistance along the way, in case we were to reject from those levels, but not closing the entire trade, just slightly reducing the size of the trade at each of those levels of resistance. And then ultimately, if we break out above those points of resistance along the way, I'm still overall long on the price of Bitcoin, continuing the trade towards the upside. And if you want more of a detailed analysis and a detailed trading strategy in regards to this trade right here, then check out my last video here on the channel, because in that video, I'll talk some more about this trading opportunity and potentially how we could make a lot of profit in this next move. And if you want to take trades just like this for yourself, personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on BTNX. So I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, where you can claim some massive bonuses. For example, up to $45,000 in trading bonuses and over $200 in deposit bonuses, up to $200 in deposit bonuses just by depositing $1,000. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that first link below this video to Bitfinex to take advantage of these major bonuses here that are only available using that link. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, you can also get some massive trading bonuses over there that are only available using that link. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, and at least for now, obviously we're continuing this major breakout here into new all-time highs. As of recording this video, we're basically at all-time highs at around 118,000. Obviously, just over the last one day, we hit almost 119,000, so a very, very slight pullback, but currently, as of recording this video, we're continuing the push a little bit higher. And so as I've been saying over the last half a week, since the moment we confirmed this daily candle close at around 111,000, right there, I said that's a significant change in price structure because we've officially now broken out and left this descending parallel channel towards the upside, which once again is a major change in the price structure, pointing towards much more bullish price action coming next. And obviously from that point onwards, that's exactly what we saw as predicted. But if you're just now finding this channel and you're thinking you're late to this move, we've already seen a bunch of bullish price action. Yes, of course, we can see little pullbacks and things like that along the way, but once again, we do have much higher price targets which are currently in play. So for example, if you were thinking you were late to Bitcoin back here after we saw this major bullish move back here during around May 2025, obviously you were not late to Bitcoin back then. Even if we already saw a lot of bullish price action leading up to that point, we still had a lot higher and then ultimately even higher again later on. And so keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, we have the 1618 Fibonacci extension level as the next major price target or point of resistance to watch out for, sitting at approximately $121,000 per Bitcoin. So really in the low 120k range, really in between roughly 120k to 122k, around there on the price chart, I would expect resistance for the price of Bitcoin, which means, in case you're new to all of this, the price could likely struggle or possibly reject from that level. So keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, looking at the last 3 days worth of price action, we can see that right now in the shorter term, a lot of liquidity is just now starting to build above the price of Bitcoin, sitting at just above 119,000. So really in between 119,000 to 119.3k is the next major area of liquidity to watch out for in the short term. And in case you're new to all of this, usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity, especially if it's close to the price of Bitcoin, which means this is kind of acting as a magnet in the short term, and it's extremely likely that the price will be drawn to that level at around 119,000. And so overall, once again, we're still looking very bullish. We still have a lot more price targets towards the upside, like 121k, and then ultimately, if we pass a bunch of levels of resistance along the way, of course, we have that much higher price target at roughly 153,000. And overall, the momentum once again is flipping much more bullish. We're regaining a lot of bullish momentum with now a new bullish crossover confirmed in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. And while all of this is happening for the price of Bitcoin against the US dollar, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance price chart on the 3-day time frame, we can see an official bearish divergence has just recently confirmed on this chart. And I talked about this in my last video just yesterday, but basically this is a signal possibly pointing towards a bit of an altcoin season, because if we see some sort of dump or pullback in the Bitcoin dominance, that basically means the altcoins are outperforming whatever Bitcoin is doing. So if we see a dump in the Bitcoin dominance, that's not necessarily bearish for the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin against the US dollar can still go towards the upside, even if the Bitcoin dominance is bearish. All this means is that the altcoins are seeing even larger gains than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And so this is a period in the market where you want to be paying attention. Do not miss any of these videos that I'm posting every day, because obviously this is the period in the market where we see a lot of opportunities, not just for Bitcoin, but potentially more and more opportunities starting to show up in the altcoin market after a long period of time where a lot of altcoins have been underperforming Bitcoin. And once again, this is the time in the market where you have to be already set up, ready to go on a crypto exchange to take the next trading opportunity as soon as it happens. So definitely check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those extra bonuses. And once again, they are no KYC exchanges. And if we're taking a look at the Ethereum price chart on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Ethereum, except for the fact that obviously we're not at all-time highs, but we've just broken out above a significant area of resistance, sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k, and we've now just confirmed a couple of daily candle closes above, well above 2.8k, which means obviously we've already confirmed that breakout here, and we are possibly running into a bit of short-term resistance at just above 3,000, so at roughly around 30.30 to 30.50, give or take. We do have some resistance around there based on previous support and also previous resistance still acting as resistance at just above 3,000. But if we break through that level, the next target would be sitting in between around 3.2k to 3.3k as another area of resistance based on this Fibonacci level here, and then above that would likely move towards around 3.5k, 3.7k, and then of course this high at just above 4,000, around 4,000 to 4.1k as a significant point of resistance. And overall, Ethereum and a lot of the major altcoins are highly correlated to whatever Bitcoin is doing. So for example, if Bitcoin has a major dump or major pump, expect something similar for Ethereum and a lot of the altcoin market. But considering the fact that the Bitcoin dominance is starting to pull back and starting to play out a bearish divergence, this could mean that Ethereum and some of the top altcoins could actually start outperforming and are already starting to outperform Bitcoin. So keep in mind, Ethereum and some other alts may pump even more than whatever Bitcoin is pumping, especially if the Bitcoin dominance continues this pullback. That's essentially what that Bitcoin dominance pullback means. But while this is playing out, there is a possible warning signal to pay attention to on this 2-day Ethereum price chart, which is also somewhat visible on the daily time frame. And of course, that is a bearish divergence. We have higher highs in the price and lower highs in the 2-day Ethereum RSI, as we can see. But at least for now, and I want to make this clear, this is not currently confirmed. It's just possibly forming. It's a signal that's flashing on the price chart, but not confirmed because we've not yet confirmed the lower high in place in the 2-day Ethereum RSI. So what we need to actually confirm this signal is some sort of rejection or pullback in the RSI like this by confirming ideally 1 to 2 candle closes in the red on the 2-day time frame, which would take at least around 4 days to actually confirm once again. And if that were to confirm, only if that were to confirm, we could see a little bit of a cool off, basically a slowdown for the price, either some choppy sideways price action or a slight pullback. But once again, I want to make it clear, at least for now, this is not confirmed. So if the price of Bitcoin, for example, continues to pump, and especially if the Bitcoin dominance continues dumping here, pulling back, that will likely push the price of Ethereum against the US dollar further towards the upside. And if the price of Ethereum goes further towards the upside, that can pull the RSI further towards the upside. And if the RSI creates higher highs above this previous high, then there's no divergence at all. So that is of course what we're watching out for. But overall, considering this is not currently confirmed, once again, we're very much looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the price structure, the trend, and the momentum on the larger time frames. The daily time frame, Ethereum is looking very bullish right now. And when it comes to support, I would expect a lot of support in this previous area of resistance, now flipping into new support in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, it's a somewhat similar situation for Solana. Obviously, we've seen a major bounce from this exact area of support, sitting in between around 143 to 146, and we're now running into this exact level of resistance, the 50% retracement level, sitting at around 167 approximately. And so far, as I'm recording this video, to the nearest dollar, that's exactly where we have started to struggle at, exactly where we've just seen a short-term rejection from. But like I explained yesterday in my last video here on the channel, it is bullish for the price no matter what the price does here, whether we see a breakout or a rejection. For example, if of course we break out towards the upside, that's bullish for the price by itself if we're breaking out above key resistance, and then I'll be targeting the next points of resistance towards the upside. But if we were to see some sort of rejection here and failing to first of all break out above around 167, at least on the first attempt, and then come back down towards even around 150 to 145, give or take, and then bounce somewhere around there, we have a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern forming right now, which would actually require a rejection here, more of a pullback, and then a bounce, and then a breakout in order to actually form and then confirm this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which, in case you're new to all of this, an inverse head and shoulders pattern is a bullish price pattern, which will set up a massive bullish price target. But once again, at least for now, that's just possibly forming, not confirmed, not in play, because we first need to see some sort of right shoulder form and then break out above 167 in order to confirm that. So that's why I just said earlier that no matter what happens here, at least on this attempt, this test of the resistance, whether we break out or reject, it's looking bullish bullish either way. And if we were to see a little bit more of a rejection here, failing to break out above 167 on this first attempt here, in that situation, I would expect a lot of support at around 155 to 156 and more support in between 143 to 146. And if we see a breakout confirm above 167 with at least a daily candle close above that level, and ideally flipping that into new support, holding that as support, in that situation, I'll be targeting around 180 to 185 as the next area of resistance. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term Solana price chart here on the 8-hour time frame, technically speaking, despite the fact that we've seen a bit of sideways price action over the last one day, the bullish breakout for this bullish cup and handle pattern is still currently valid. It is still active on the price chart because we've not yet seen a confirmed break with candle closes back below this level right here, which in case you're wondering is sitting at roughly 158. So if we were to see candle closes on the 8-hour time frame below 158, in that situation, that would invalidate this pattern, invalidate the breakout, and invalidate the price target for this pattern. And in case you're wondering, the technical price target for this bullish cup and handle pattern for the price of Solana is sitting at roughly $194. So from where we are right now, as of recording this video, to that price target, that's still roughly a 20% move towards the upside with no leverage, or for example, a 10x leverage long position, that would be almost a 200% profit in that example. As always, not financial advice. And so an example of a trading strategy would be very similar to the trading strategy as I've been saying recently here on the channel for Bitcoin for this bullish cup and handle pattern on the 3-day Bitcoin price chart. It'll basically be the exact same trading strategy for the price of Solana on the 8-hour time frame. So essentially placing a long position now that we've confirmed the breakout, and then if we were to see a break back below around 158, basically closing the long position, having a stop loss just below the point of invalidation. So taking a small loss in the worst case scenario in order to avoid further losses. That would be the worst case scenario here, just taking a small loss. And then of course the best case scenario would be if we continue pushing higher in the case of a long position, and then in that situation I'd slowly move a stop loss further and further into profits, so that in the worst case scenario, if the stop loss is sitting in profits, then basically you close the trade automatically in profits even in the worst case scenario, and then potentially get some key points of resistance along the way. I'd look to take some profits here and there, and then obviously a little bit more profits closer towards the price target. But like I also explained in my last video just yesterday, I'd not necessarily open a position right now at the current price, considering the fact that we're only just underneath a major point of resistance at around 166 to 167 once again. So ideally, I'd like to see a breakout above that level of resistance before potentially opening a bit more of a long position here for the price of Solana to trade towards these next points of resistance and this next major price target, because once again, there's still a possible risk of a rejection at 167 and a little bit more of a pullback. That's still a risk that we need to consider, which is why I'd wait for a breakout above this level before potentially trading the rest of this pattern. And once again, if you want to take trades just like that, check out the links below this video to those exchanges to claim those massive bonuses. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, right now XRP is obviously gathering a lot of bullish momentum. Obviously, just over the last half a week, for almost a week now, we've just seen straight green candles, as we can see. And not only that, if we're looking at the daily XRP MACD, obviously we're showing a lot of bullish momentum starting to build. But the one downside of all of this bullish price action is the fact that, of course, we're starting to hit overbought. In fact, we're quite overbought on the daily time frame. But like I explained in my last video and many videos here on the channel, XRP often moves in straight lines when we see a lot of momentum in the market. So that could be bullish or bearish momentum, but right now it is bullish momentum. And so we're effectively seeing almost a straight line towards the upside, which is actually quite normal for the price of XRP. XRP does this quite often. And so we could see here in previous price action that the price often moves in straight lines, both towards the upside and to the downside. So keep that in mind. It is basically a much more volatile asset, slightly higher risk to trade, but if you can time it right, you can make a lot of profits potentially trading the price of XRP if you're good at trading, obviously. But just over the last one day, we've now officially confirmed a daily candle close above this previous significant area of resistance, which was sitting in between around $2.55 to $2.62, give or take. And now that we've broken out above this golden pocket area of resistance, the next price target is sitting in between around $2.80 to $3. So basically roughly around $2.90. We could find some resistance around there. And in fact, that's what I said in my last video, just before the price hit that level closer towards $3. And that's exactly where we did find a bit of short-term resistance and start to struggle around that level. But overall, the momentum and the trend in the price of XRP in the market overall overall right now is clearly bullish. So it's very likely that very soon we'll see another test of this resistance. And then if we can ultimately break out above ideally $3 with candle closes above $3, in that situation, it's extremely likely we'll continue towards the all-time record high at roughly around 340. And so all we need to see is just that confirmed breakout above $3, and then that move from roughly $3 to 340 could honestly take just a couple of days for the price of XRP, because XRP, once again, when it gets going, it really gets going. It moves very fast. But if we were to see a little bit more of a struggle or rejection from this resistance here at roughly 290, in that situation, I would expect a lot of support in between, once again, roughly 255 to 262 based on previous resistance flipping into new support. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink. Obviously, the trend, the price structure, the momentum looking very, very bullish right now in the shorter term relative to the daily time frame for the price of Chainlink. But right now, we're testing a major area of resistance, still sitting in between roughly 1530 to 1550. And even though we saw a bit of a short-term move above 1550 just yesterday, of course, we did not actually confirm a breakout with a daily candle close or 12-hour candle close or anything like that. We did not really confirm a breakout well above this area of resistance, which means at least for now, we're still testing this resistance, still possibly struggling around this area. But like I explained earlier for Solana on this daily time frame right here, no matter what happens right now for the price of Chainlink, whether we see a further breakout above 1550 or even if we see a little bit more of a rejection here, either way, we are looking bullish. And the reason behind that is because we have a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern forming, as we could see, which would actually require more of a pullback first, a rejection from this area, and then a bounce and then a breakout in order to form a right shoulder, to form the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And if that were to happen, that would set up a significant bullish price target at much, much higher prices. But obviously, if we were to just see a confirmed breakout above 1550 with ideally a daily candle close above that level, obviously that's bullish by itself. And in that situation, I'd expect a continued move up towards roughly 1640 to 1650, give or take. And then if we break out above that area on the price chart, expect a continued move up towards around 1750 to almost $18 as the next significant point of resistance. And as for short-term support, in case we see a bit of a rejection here, I would expect support at roughly 1450 and a lot of support at roughly 1370 to 1390 approximately. But remember, even if we see a little bit of a pullback here, either way, we're looking very bullish when we're looking at the trend or the momentum on the price chart. And that's the same for a lot of the crypto market right now, especially if Bitcoin's looking very bullish. That can really help a lot of the altcoin market, and especially while the Bitcoin dominance is pulling back, that helps the altcoin market even more. And so once again, this is the time in the market where you have to be set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities using the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, whether we're bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit in all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit during choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.